Texas State Democratic Legislator Nicole Collier. So I'm recording this at 12:14 West Coast time on Wednesday, August 20th. She has been locked inside the chamber of the Texas State House since Monday, since when she showed up for work Monday morning. She has been locked in there at the direction of Texas State Republican legislators because last month, like 50 or 60 Democrats from the Texas State House left Texas. They were in the middle of a 30-day special session, during which time Republicans were going to ram through their gerrymandering bill to further disenfranchise black and brown people in the state of Texas and try to give themselves 5 more Republican districts. They have yet to bring up legislation during any special session to deal with flood relief or a response to flooding and funding for that. Remember on July 4th, catastrophic flooding hit central Texas that resulted in the deaths of about 150 people, most of whom were children. The Texas Republicans haven't done anything about that yet, but we're right now in the second special session that they've called to deal with their gerrymandering bill as opposed to deal with flood relief or helping the families of flood victims. So that tells you where their priorities are. So what has happened is that Republicans on Monday said to Democrats, if you want to leave the chamber and go home and go on about your lives, you have to sign a permission slip. And by signing that permission slip, we are going to assign a Texas State police officer to you to be with you 24/7 until you come back on Wednesday for the special session. Those police officers will be assigned to you throughout the duration of that special session until we pass our gerrymandering bill. They aren't going to these lengths to pass flood relief bills or to pass anything that would address what these families have been through and what these flood victims have been through. They are using Texas state law enforcement, assigning every state legislator who's a Democrat their own Texas state police officer so that they can push through Donald Trump's gerrymandering bill, because they are goddamn terrified that they are going to lose the House of Representatives in November 2026 unless they do shit like this and cheat. So that's what they're doing. Nicole Collier was like, no, I'm not signing your little permission slip. So they locked her inside the chamber in the State House, where she spent the night. And she spent the night, I think she spent the night Monday night, I think she spent the night Tuesday night. She's still in there. It would appear as though every other Democratic member of the Texas State House did sign their permission slips. And I saw an interview this morning from one woman, she's a black woman who's a Democratic member of the State House in Texas. I didn't get her name. And she got up early this morning and told the police officer outside who was assigned to her, she's like, well, I'm going on my morning walk, so I don't know what you're going to do. And he's like, well, I have to come with you. And she's like, well, you're not going to walk through my neighborhood where my neighbors live with your guns on you. So you can take those off and leave them in your truck. And he was like, well, I guess I'll follow you in my truck. Part of her hike involves a nature trail where his truck wouldn't fit. And so she just kept walking. She did her walk. And when she came back out on the other side, he was there and started screaming at her with a gun, saying that he was going to arrest her immediately because she had walked in an area that was out of his line of sight and he couldn't see her. None of these Democratic members of the Texas State House have committed any crime. They are not accused of committing any crime. They're not under arrest. None of them have been booked, indicted, arraigned, fingerprinted. There are no accusations of criminal activity whatsoever. I don't believe it's coincidental that the two Democratic lawmakers who I've just spoken about are black women. Anyway, attorneys representing Texas State Rep Nicole Collier filed a motion yesterday, and they have moved a court to intervene after she has been detained overnight in the House chamber because she did not agree to around-the-clock monitoring by state troopers. In a Tuesday motion before the district court in Travis County, the attorneys said they were seeking a writ of habeas corpus because the restraint on her liberty is illegal. A writ of habeas corpus is a Latin term. It means release the body. It's the kind of motion that one files when they believe they are being unjustly held or detained by law enforcement. And they are absolutely correct that the restraint on Nicole Collier's liberty is absolutely illegal. It is it's fucking kidnapping. She's being held against her will and locked in a room. Quoting from the motion, Representative Collier is under restraint by virtue of the Speaker of the House's order, placing her into custody of law enforcement prior to the Wednesday, August 2025 special session. Representative Collier has been informed that she is not free to leave the Capitol. Chairman of the Committee on House Administration, Charlie Green, informed Representative Collier, if you leave the Capitol, you are subject to arrest. The question before the court is not whether the House's sergeant at arms can arrest absent quorum-breaking members. Rather, the question is whether detention, arrest, or compulsion is permitted for previously absent but now present members. Attorneys for Collier insisted that the Republican-controlled House has no such power to do this or to arrest a member who just didn't show up for work. Imagine if every time you didn't show up for work, your boss put out a warrant for your arrest. Again from the motion. Thus, the government is without legal authority to detain members like Representative Collier, who is physically present. Further, the government is without any legal authority to detain members when a quorum is not needed to conduct business. Collier sought relief, including her immediate release, and an order preventing the Sergeant-at-Arms from restraining Representative Collier in any respect unless she is physically absent from a current legislative session. So, like, I did a video the other day where I said this authoritarian bullshit that we're seeing from Donald Trump, like what he's doing in Washington, D.C., is going to trickle down into state legislatures across the country. We're seeing that in Texas State House right now. Because if you think Republican House members at the federal level are nuts, you should spend some time checking out Republicans in state legislatures in red states. They are insane. They believe that God is on their side. They believe that Democrats are evil and should be eradicated from the face of the earth. And they believe that they have, fucking divine justice on their side in placing a black woman in the State House chamber and locking the door and leaving her there for 2 days so that they can have more members in the House of Representatives. It's racist authoritarianism run amok, and it's here.